Callum. Friday again.
Friday again. Yeah, I mean, it feels like I've not done umbraCoffee that much recently, but I think every week it's just been very different. Of course, 2 weeks ago I was at 6 a.m. in the middle of trying to leave for the airport, maybe, but not knowing because there was supposedly a hurricane. And then last week was a Duke Fest, and the week before that I was just frantically packing to try and get away to the US. So I've really lost track of time. Really lost track of time.
Yeah, but I must say I was, as you've mentioned it somewhere last week, that I was having a week off, but it wasn't a week off. I was literally watching the umbraCoffee. So yeah, and I lost the sound. So yeah, I was watching umbraCoffee from the place where I am, and yeah, it seems like week after week is going crazy. And we were just discussing before going live how everything around us affects areas of our professional business, private life. I literally moved, still have boxes, no furniture, still. Sorry for the echo. But yeah, that's amazing how time flies.
As you said again before we went live, that you're wearing a t-shirt today, which is progress, because then it means you've got heating finally. So, all these things that affect you.
Small wins across the longer ways. Yeah, I didn't even imagine that having heating at home might make you that happy. That's really good. And yeah, despite of that, of course, the technically and then business speaking, Umbraco speaking, there is a lot of things happening too. And today, after preparations for the episode, I realized that we are in the middle of October and in the middle of Hacktoberfest as well.
We are.
How is it going?
Yeah, I told myself I would do another Twitch stream this month, and I had it scheduled on Wednesday in my calendar. Last week wasn't going to be possible because I was in New York and coming home and flying to the Netherlands. But this week, I had it in my calendar, and Wednesday was crazy, so I didn't do it. Then I'll do it on Thursday, and I didn't do it. So I've missed another week, which means I've not done a pull request as I'd hoped. And I did do a cheeky one though. I did, because you can do these no code or low code contributions, which means that it means that your blog posts that you write or talks that you do or events you organize, those count towards Hacktoberfest. So I did do a quick pull request to the Umbraco logbook or activity log to say that I'd done one of those things. So I have one in the bag, but it's not. It feels like a bit of a cheat to me. I wanted to do 4 code contributions. I will try.
But of course, it's happening still. There is an option to participate in Hacktoberfest, both Umbraco ways and both programming way. And what I wanted to admire a lot is one of our shared friends, Asian's contribution, because he at the day 1 of October decided to do all the 4 pull requests that were awaiting
all on one day.
All on one day, just spent the full day, contributed back, did it, submitted for entrance for the t-shirt, all done. Day 1.
I know that Jason, who works with me, of course, is he's been busy. I think he's maybe got 3 in this week so far, 2 or 3, and they've been good, meaty, juicy ones. And he's helped out Aaron as well with some issues with image processing on Linux. He's done some an Umbraco copy. People are smashing. Some people are smashing them out of the park.
Yeah, that's how it is, right? Some people are crashing. Some people are postponing it until the week 4, as usual.
You do them on the last day, Marcin. I've never heard of anyone doing that.
I did it. So it is possible, but yeah, of course, it's still a way to go. And we have a blog post from Umbraco directly from Sebastian about how basically it can be contributed to Umbraco, with Umbraco, and what are the ways and areas where people can look for the ideas for contributions. And that's amazing kind of.
So this year they've taken an interesting approach, which is they have a set number of repos in the Umbraco sphere you can contribute to. So that's an exciting thing. But then also they've got this activity log, so that far more stuff, releasing a new package or whatever, counts towards your Hacktoberfest contributions. That's a really nice balance. And I think they've also changed the rules. Maybe in previous years, did you still have to do 4 contributions for Umbraco to give you some swag or trees? Or was it just 1?
if I read correctly, it's two amongst all of this needs to be to Umbraco. Maybe Sebastian can confirm, but because
It's two this year. It's two this year, but I think previously it was one. They've just changed slightly the way that you do this, which is good. And I said when I gave my pull request to the activity log that I mean I've done a talk 3 times. Maybe I could just submit that 3 times, but it feels cheeky, not in the spirit of it. So.
You know, it feels cheeky for you, but imagine the other way, right? So you can. There are some people who will be a lot more confident with doing code, even hardcore code contributions than doing a talk. So that's why I think I like this idea of having this no code, low code contributions because it helps to engage more people. Because we know that there are some hardcore oriented people with very high skills in technical skills, and there are some people who are very happy in doing talks. So yeah, now we can unify all of them, and yeah, that's also
or whatever. Like we have this adage in the Umbraco community. There's so many different ways to contribute, and I feel like this does actually recognize that. So that's really cool. I was going to say as well, Hacktoberfest have done a much better job this year of making sure, 1, that spam and quality is under control, and 2, they've completely they've stopped promoting the swag element of it. So I wasn't clear if that still means that you can get swag. I believe you can, but they've completely kind of scaled down the promotion on that side, which previously was forcing people to make, I'm going to do 4 pull requests that just change 1 word in a README and isn't valuable. I had a great tweet from Christian Steinmeier to one of my repos where he corrected something that was fine in code, but the docs were wrong, and that they were just like some parameters the wrong way around or something. And it's subtle changes like that requires someone to go and actually look into. You're not just plucking out an obvious thing. You've found something that's bugged you or that has frustrated you, and you fixed it. Which I think this is what it's more about, right? And it definitely seems to be going that way this year. So that's really good.
The only thing I wanted to say is still we are kind of fortunate among the Umbraco community that we are facing this kind of initiatives. I was able to recently talk with a couple of the teams, and I mentioned, oh yeah, it's Hacktoberfest, so you can contribute or we can contribute to the sources, and they asked me, what is Hacktoberfest? So that's this is kind of stuff that even if we'll be talking 100 times about it, it still might be some group of people or even our close colleagues and friends who might not know about it. So it's never enough, and still, even if it's growing, getting mature as an idea, it's I would say worth to remind us all that this is happening even across the colleagues and friends around. So yeah, that's what I wanted to say. And this is the log that we mentioned about this low code and no code contributions. And of course, links to everything like this and this whole amazing blog post by Sebastian will be in our description if you don't want to look for it on your own. And there are also other ways of contributing. People are contributing with creating the spaces for further contributions. And one of the ideas is started by the Candid Contributions team. And this is the Umbraco and Candid Contributions Hacktoberfest Hackathon.
I'm slightly sad where previously we've had CanCon Hackathon and like a catchy name. This year they've gone for the exact opposite, which is the longest possible name you could imagine for an event. But no, this will be good. They've always been fun. They've always been a nice way. I don't think I've ever done anything actually at any of these hackathons, but it's always been nice to kind of sit on Zoom and chat.
I did a talk once. Yeah, I did a talk straight from the middle of mountains. I remember it. So, but yeah, that was cool. And yeah, but still, it's still fun and still great way of gathering with like-minded people and generally contributing to Umbraco in many ways. So finding out things to contribute, finding out companion and people to help you with doing it, and also learning on how to do it if you are completely not experienced with this kind of activities. And it is happening on Friday, on 21st.
Friday, so 12 p.m. UK time, 1 p.m. European time. So effectively, as soon as umbraCoffee finishes, you can jump onto the virtual hackathons. It should be a nice way to spend an afternoon.
Yeah, that's great. And with what we can contribute of course with Umbraco, and Umbraco has a new version to probably spot, find, and fix some issues. So that's also a great way to contribute. And this is 10.3 release candidate, released on October 6th. Callum, anything from your perspective that is something what you are waiting for?
The block grid's cool. It's nice to see that that's actually out there and it's ready for people to give their feedback on. I think it's going to be a contentious one, and I would encourage people who use the grid currently heavily to really try out this release candidate and give feedback.
Yeah.
Ignoring anyone's views on it, if you think about from a practical point of view, the block grid is being released now so that in V11 the current grid can be deprecated, and so that it can be retired in time for the new back office to come out in V13. So this solution that goes in 10.3 is the grid solution for the next however long. Like the current grid is going away within a year. It's important that I think we get it right, and and that people give their feedback. As Lars is saying here, it's awesome, but it's a very different paradigm to say the current grid. It's far more flexible in many regards, and equally comes with other challenges. So if you're using the grid, this is going to be your replacement. Go check it out. Go give your feedback. You've got a few more days really. Next week is the targeted release date on the 20th of October. So and this is of course not saying that there's not space for feedback and refinement in future versions, but if there's something that say fundamentally wrong's the wrong word, but fundamentally doesn't sit right with you, now is the time than ever to raise that. I think this is a more important feature than we've seen for quite a long time.
But also it also helps in switching this mentality, right? Because I also remember a lot of people staying with the old mentalities, and now when we had element types, block list editors, general nested even content kind of approach, it was something new and different. And now it's not new and different. It's just a unified way of kind of thinking about these element types. And it took me a while also to get familiar with it, and now I see the powers in it. And if we all see the powers and see the less of obstacles on the ways, that's probably how we can all make it even better. So yeah, definitely check it out if you haven't checked it yet. And there is also a lot of videos about the block editors, not only Umbraco, but also Paul and other Umbracians released a lot of blog posts and videos in the past regarding on how to generally work with the blocks amongst the whole Umbraco installation. So there definitely there is plenty of material to learn from.
I will say as well, there's some of the videos that have been released here, but specifically, I know that Neil Slingshow's got some really nice, very pretty examples of like a really nice looking experience in the back office. So go watch those. Maybe you'll get a bit inspired. And for the first time in quite a long time, Umbraco ships with some default views. So people complain that the block list was a little bit
naked,
annoying to have to then go create like a render, which is just HTML and Angular basically. They're saying, well, you can use some of our pre-built ones that do images or I think rich text and some simple property types. They're already shipping with Umbraco. So out of the box, you can make a relatively nice looking experience, but Niels has really pushed it quite a bit further.
Yeah. And of course, other than that, there's a UI library inclusion now in the Umbraco version. So
I learned last week that's because the block grid is actually using elements of that UI library. So this is, I guess, the first property editor in the wild using that.
But again, that's a huge change. That's why it requires our feedback and testing. And as it's release candidate, this is for what it is created. So be sure to check it out, feedback, and share any issues with Umbraco. Much appreciated for sure. And the next one on our list is a community quiz, started by Paul Seal as a weekly idea. I haven't heard too much about it.
Yeah, this is something that that Paul mentioned he was going to do, and at least maybe semi-quietly. And the idea is it's a weekly community-generated quiz about Umbraco for the Umbraco community. So you can go to communityquiz.net, sign up, create an account. It's all Umbraco 10 based, and it's all, Umbraco membership. Paul's not skimming your passwords and sending them off to something else. It's all open source as well, so you can see that. You can sign up, you can take part. There's a leaderboard. It's using Construct in the background to store data about submissions, and then you're able to take part. As I say, I think the quiz comes out on a Monday. So Paul showed this off on his in his DukeFest talk last week. So anyone that didn't see that probably won't have seen this site or heard too much about it. But go sign up, communityquiz.net. It's good fun. Just 10 questions, and it's a way of learning about Umbraco without feeling like you're learning. You gain badges, and you can submit your own questions for the next week. So I think next week's will come out on Monday, and then people can compete on the leaderboard to have more badges or more whatever.
And I like the term gamifying learning, because it's exactly how we can make learning fun. And if someone wants to fix something, I realized that registration didn't work before the episode today. So maybe something is wrong out there. So please help.
So Paul, I was talking with Paul just before umbraCoffee today, and he said there's been loads of pull requests already merged as part of Hacktoberfest. It's open for contribution. I said I wanted to change the algorithm for the leaderboard so that I was always at the top. Those sorts of things. Like it's fully open for contribution. So this might be a nice thing to try and contribute to if you fancy it.
Yeah, definitely. Another big kind of release this week was mentioned by Marcus, and it's about his newsletter studio that has right now a stable release from Umbraco 10 plus patches for 8 and 9. And we've been talking about this package a lot. Still, I haven't had enough time yet to play with it on V10. But
here's something interesting, and this might just be me being ultra observant. But when Marcus tweeted about this, he said email studio.
Yeah, that's what I noticed as well.
In the CMS is also called email, and I know we've spoken about this with him before, that actually this is a really good solution for managing things like transactional emails directly in the CMS. Currently, our approach is generally dictionary items actually for building the relative components of an email, but then you can't preview it, you can't do a test send or anything like that. So this is a nice experience. I wonder if Marcus is trying to pivot it more that direction, so it's more like just anything email focused. You can do campaigns or you can do transactional, or if that was just a typo. But
yeah, and also there was a mention about some issues about hang fire from Marcus' side. So there's a lot of sneak peeks around the communication about it. But of course, the package itself was and is still a great way of bundling the emailing and marketing email functions inside of the Umbraco installation. And it looks neat. It looks really, really good. So if anyone is looking for this kind of functionality and wanted it stable for V10, it is here. So that's definitely to be checked here. The next one is also interesting release, and it's a new package, a new way of restricting access to Umbraco. And we probably remember also the old ways and old packages. I can't remember the name of it. What was that Anthony made? Sitelock.
Yeah, Sitelock.
That was that one. Yeah. So it was a Sitelock approach, and it was used heavily by a lot of community members. And if you're watching it right now and you used Sitelock, let us know in the comments. It would make Anthony happier and us all as well. But yeah, there is a new way of blocking restriction to Umbraco through the IP addresses. So, and by the configuration, so it might be even easier again to do it. But yeah, that's to be checked. And I know that a lot of people are still using this kind of approach. They maybe don't have access to the infrastructure where it can be controlled on Azure or servers. So it might be worth checking out if you are in a similar situation.
And also this one counted towards Hacktoberfest. So this was a contribution added to the Umbraco activity log, and therefore it counts towards Hacktoberfest. So Clearly, this was not just something that they created overnight, but they definitely released. Although 2 commits, 1 of them 2 hours ago, maybe.
Initial commit and
Yeah, we joke, but I think that is the reality.
yeah, that's not that easy yet, right?
No.
And the next release, the last release on our list today, is a new version of Skybot Umbraco Redirects package.
So this has been 2 weeks in a row actually that Anders has updated some things for Skype Redirect for V9, not for V10. And I think most of these are pulling back changes that were in the V10 release, fixes to the UI, that sort of thing, have been pulled back into the V9 version. So that's great. It's really helpful for anyone still running V9, but why just upgrade? It's nice and easy.
Yeah, that's looking really good. Meetups ahead of us. So starting from Flight Club. Flight Club.
Bristol are hosting a darts night. They have 10 spaces. If you want to go, there's 2 more spaces left. I think you have to pay a little bit of money, but it's on Tuesday. So if you're in Bristol and that sounds fun, let them know.
Yeah. The next one is Umbraco Hackathon with Sebastian in person in Copenhagen.
Yeah, in person in Copenhagen. So Know It, who hosted the last meetup in Copenhagen, also are kindly hosting them again. And I think Seb and Emma are going to be there to sort of help people contribute to Hacktoberfest. And
it's really cool. And the day after, Kent, Umbraco meetup. Umbraco meetup in Kent.
That's the next one. Edinburgh's the same day. So Edinburgh's doing an in-person session somewhere in centre of Edinburgh. I don't know if there's an agenda or anything, but
and the Kent one is here, right? So that's the date, the day after, on October 20th. Also, the way of contributing, and it was long-awaited in-person social out there after a small break caused by the.
There's loads of other things happening that week, I think, as well. I think on the 20th there is a DXP conference that's being hosted by UCommerce, and Umbraco are taking part as well. That's on Thursday as well, the 20th in London. I can't remember the URL or anything, but if you go to UCommerce's website, there's a big sign up banner there and it will take you there. It's a composable DXP event that's happening next week too. And I think there's a couple other things around.
But that's must seen, right? Umbraco and Umbraco representatives are visiting a lot of other conferences than the ones that are just purely for Umbraco interest, which is of course good because there's exchange of ideas all the time. And definitely everyone can follow the activities on both Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn, where there's a lot of updates on people's participation out there, and hopefully it will also bring more plugins and contributions and basically connections also between the tools that are mentioned out in this composable ecosystem, which is great still. Other than that, Umbraco is also hosting some seminars in UK, in Bristol, Manchester, and London. There will be a Umbraco
cloud seminars, and it's kind of, I guess, demonstrating the roadmap and the roadmap, and then opportunities to provide some feedback and some ideas, and then so 3 times throughout November in the UK. Including one of them's on the 16th of November, so that's the day before Umbraco Together.
Exactly, and this relates to the next one, which I will be involved in, because exactly at this date, together with the Umbraco team member Hjalte, we will be talking about upgrading Umbraco to Umbraco 10. So is it the time? Why and if we should do that, and how it can be done in the various ways?
This is at Novacell.
Yes, this is at Novacell.
If someone can have a packed day, they can go to the cloud seminar in the morning and then go to Novacell.
Yes.
Wow.
There is a registration form.
Both of those. The challenges, of course, I'll be preparing for the event, but I'll see what I can do.
Try try your best. You have some clones, Callum, right? So that's you can send one of the clones.
I do have some.
But yeah, generally it will be a really, really packed November because, of course, as you mentioned, the day after 16th is Umbraco Together. Tell us more about the status of it, how it's going.
Of course. I very briefly mentioned this on umbraCoffee last week. I didn't really want to hijack the Dugfest event too much to tell them all about this other event, but it's happening.
Now is the time.
Umbraco Together, again, it's happening. So yeah, tickets are on sale. It's on the 17th and the 18th of November. 17th will be a hackathon in Old Street, and then on the 18th we've got a really nice venue in the centre of Tech City in London, basically. We've got an open call for speakers, which I ambitiously set to be closing on the 31st. The reality is we've probably got 2/3 of the sessions that look great already. So it will probably fill up earlier than that date, is the reality, unless something really awesome comes in. So if you have a great idea that you'd like to present, please submit it on Sessionize, and that will get reviewed and hopefully accepted. But yeah, tickets, £50. Try to keep it affordable, yet also accessible and covering costs as well, which is always a challenge, right? We have an online ticket there. No one has bought an online ticket yet, which I guess is fine.
But I think it's worth mentioning then, because I completely missed this option, to be honest, when I initially went to the website. So for those people who are not going there, it will be interesting to find out that this is an option, right? So
yes, indeed, yeah. But it won't be worthwhile unless a few people buy it. So let's see. Let's see. I'm not tied to that. It's a weird one. Some people prefer in-person events now, and some people still want to be online. And yeah, that's a really tricky one.
That's great that you're delivering the two options, right? That's kind of appreciated for all of that. And then so that's happening. There will be an umbraCoffee out there.
There will be an umbraCoffee there for sure, and we've got a nice cozy space we can do that, Marcin. So that will be good. And there'll definitely be talks from Umbraco HQ. I can. It's not on the website, but I'll reveal. We've already got a couple of speakers confirmed. I know Pornima is going to be doing a talk. I know that Matt Wise is going to be doing a talk. We've got a few really interesting topics, and also some things from outside of the Umbraco community that I can't reveal just yet. But maybe some thought-provoking things, or some different perspectives on the world and open source. So it should be a good event. Buy a ticket.
No one doubts in it. The week after, there is another Umbraco event on which you will be also present, Callum.
It's not even a week after. It's like 4 days later, which I'm kind of dreading.
And it's of course Umbraco DK Festival. We mentioned that already with the call for proposals period as well. So now the full agenda is available, and everyone from DK and not only can see what is happening, and there are still tickets to be bought, early bird tickets even before the 1st November. That's it. Anything else come to add? Anything new maybe?
No. No, I'll be doing my Umbraco Anywhere talk that I did at Dugfest the other day, and at some of the meetups in the US. I know K-Jack's going to be there. I know Bjarke's going to be there. Pornima, Morton, a couple others that I'm not going to mention because they're not on the list, but there's definitely more information than is on this website right now.
That's true.
But yeah, go buy tickets. It was a good event last year too. It's a really good event last year. So it would be nice to see some people.
Cool. Other than that, there was Umbraco Lab session yesterday. I joined on YouTube for a while, and there was a discussion about writing playwright tests. So it's possible to be rewatched. It has a length, almost ideal 1 hour length. But there was a lot of familiar faces, and there was a bunch of demos about the testing from Nikolai. And other people discussing this later on. Unfortunately, I needed to go, but it looked really, really good. So if you want to learn more about Playwright, some acceptance tests.
Am I right in saying that Playwright is like the Microsoft equivalent of Cypress?
Yes, this is proper. And again, we are not testers here, but someone can blame us. It looks similar.
I was quite impressed with Cypress in the kind of syntax of what you write to create a test looked very understandable to me. It looked straightforward. And then from what I've very briefly seen on this, Playwright looks very, very similar. However, you can also write the tests in C#, I believe. So where before you could write them in, they were purely JavaScript, you can actually do them in C# now.
If I remember correctly, Nikolai was also sharing some of the tests done in Umbraco code base. So yeah, definitely worth checking because this is still a hot topic, and we had a lot of the discussions about it even during the Code Gardens this year.
There is a good video if you go on the Umbraco community YouTube channel. There is a really good video where Nikolai actually goes through Cypress and the setup in Umbraco as well. That's that one, from a couple of weeks ago. Really, really valuable. And Umbraco has, and they count towards Hacktoberfest, open repos for their test suite, their Playwright test suite as well. So you can go contribute to those. You can extend them, use them in your own projects as well. I see that Carl's saying that it's better as well. Well, actually, he said it's better than the country of Cyprus. But
yeah, I was going to ask, what about Crete then, or some other islands?
But yeah, no. From everything I've heard, it's better, and at least definitely in the Microsoft ecosystem, it's better too, because you can write them in the familiar languages, TypeScript, and
yeah, that's correct. Other than that, a small summary, of course, of the Dutch Umbraco User Group Festival from last week. How was till the end of the event?
It was a very good event. It was a very good event. Lots of fantastic talks. The keynote at the start of the day was raved about, of course, but there was just lots of nice pictures that were shared throughout the event. People, celebrating, people with baby grows and stuff afterwards. There was even, I think, at one point, some of Patrick Demoy's old colleagues put up a
banner.
Appreciation Society banner. It was a good event. Nice to see people.
Yeah, nice. A lot of great pictures, a lot of great highlights. So yeah, definitely another delivered quality event among the Umbraco worldwide. And other than that, there are all the talks available through this stream on Umbraco community channel. So
there was 3 tracks, and this is the kind of the main track, and this was the one that live streamed, so you won't have missed anything if you watch the live stream all day. But they've added chapters as well for the different talks, different sessions, so you can go back and watch those at a later date.
Yeah, that's great. That's another plan for colder evenings these days. And the last item on our list is a small goodbye to the documentation curators team. But the blog post is not about goodbyes; it's all about the legacy left by the documentation curators teams, because it's being retired now after 5 years. I was surprised the most about this, because I thought that this was just a while ago, right?
I thought it's only been a little while, but no, you're absolutely right. And the reason for them retiring it is they've kind of achieved what they set out to do, which was to make contributing to documentation better, to improve the structure and the quality of the documentation. And now, of course, HQ has their HDTV team internally that is responsible for maintaining that. And you'll have noticed for quite a while, any documentation pull request that you submit gets picked up pretty much within a day, maybe less. I've had some merged within half an hour, and it's usually being picked up by one of those HDTV members. So that just shows that I think this team has really helped prove how important documentation is and the maintenance of that documentation is, and so they have achieved what they set out to do, which is great.
Yeah, and I think speaking numbers, right? It's the number of contributors and documentation repository tripled during this kind of time. and also 1,700 PRs and 400 issues were resolved during this time. So it's a huge legacy. And then to be honest, I spoke recently with one of the new community members of people who became interested in Umbraco. They said, yeah, the documentation now is very clear. The section of getting started with Umbraco, installing it, it's all kind of very well structured, easy to be replicated, and there is no misalignment between the articles that were easier to be spotted earlier. So it's a huge work and great work done. And here probably the big kudos to everyone involved in helping in the team, but also helping the team, because there was a lot of activities around the team done by many people inside of the documentation. So now the goal would be to keep it up basically, but I'm sure it will be really maintained well. So yeah, that's a big heart from Umbraco and from probably the whole community as well, who benefits now from not looking too long and too far for the things that should be there.
Indeed.
Yeah, and that's all for today. If we missed anything, as usual, let us know. Let us know.
Yeah, we definitely missed stuff because last week we didn't really cover any news. So anything that people would like included in the links, just send them to me or Marcin on Twitter or Slack, or not Discord, but some way, and we'll make sure they're included down below.
Yeah, and as usual, also like, subscribe, and help us grow our channel, because
we are 3 weeks away from 250 episodes and about a month away from our 5th birthday. We'll be going to our 6th year of umbraCoffee. It would be lovely to hit 1,000 subscribers, wouldn't it, Marcin? I'd like to say by the end of this week, but no, I think end of the year would be a challenge, but maybe.
How many?
We have 838, so we've got a little way to go.
Okay, but it's doable, right? We know there is a lot of magic happening in the market community, and if not, we will literally walk through the evening events in London and just beg for subscribers before the 5th birthday episode. But no, generally, if you like what we do, like and subscribe to the channel. And because no matter what, if you subscribe or not, we'll be here on next Friday to deliver another great bunch of set of news from Umbraco community. And yeah, that's it. Have a great rest of the day, everyone, and speak to you next Friday.
Next Friday. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, everyone.